tip for you. Got an opening tip. This is Basic Lifter 101. This will improve your... it's kind of just going to buff all your stats all at once. And I think you already know what I'm going to say. It's daily cardio. I just want to get that out there in the first 5 seconds, just to really shove it into your face. But on a more actually fucking related note, if you're not a massive arm day fan, well, I'm not gonna knock you for it. As long as you're hitting every muscle group at the appropriate frequency, you get your 2 lifts per week per muscle group, then you're good. Push pull legs, chest and tries, back and bis. But I think there's something special about hitting arms all at once. I really do think there's a little something, and it might just be the fact that I love having an arm pump. Don't disregard that part. I just like it. But having your arms fully fucking pumped, both at once, tries, bis, everything, it is pretty cool. It is pretty fucking cool. And then taking that to a second level is doing your arm day in a superset fashion. I'm not even saying you have to do them like the sets back to back with no rest, but hitting arms, 1 set of triceps, 1 set of biceps, back and forth like that, instead of all triceps and then all biceps. Pump wise, your arms will never be more pumped. Even if I had the best arm day of my life, all triceps, all biceps, just the nature of doing an arm day like that means that by the time I'm done with triceps, of course my triceps are now fully pumped, but once I've moved on to bis, and I'm just doing my curls, for that whole time period of that bicep workout, my triceps are losing their pump, So, not to say that it's any better. If I totally wreck my triceps all on their own and then move on to biceps and wreck them, it's still a good lift. I hit both of the targeted muscles. But if you've never really had like a straight up tries, bis, fully pumped at the same time, then, oh my goodness, man. Let's just say you're missing out. It's like you've been looking at life in black and white, and suddenly you're like Logan Paul when he put on those colorblind glasses. You'll actually really... words can't even describe it. So that's the plan today. Arms, instead of all tries, then all bis, I'm gonna do a little bit of a back and forth approach. So, push downs, curls, machine dips, preachers. It's arm day you can play around with. Especially when you're dieting down. I'm not so concerned with making sure that I get really insanely heavy sets in. Like if my biceps feel strong, then yeah, when I start curls, I am probably going to curl like the 70s or something, as heavy as I can go for 10 reasonable reps. But I'm not necessarily in a state where I'm progressively overloading, Since I'm dieting, I'm kind of just trying to maintain my size and strength, so I'm not going to get any stronger, So all I'm really concerned with in the lift is making sure that all the sets that I do, whether they're heavy, lightish, kind of a long burnout kind of set, or like a really kind of quick, intense, heavier set, I'm just concerned with making sure that each set in and of itself, I know I'm pushing it hard. So part of that may be why I like doing the all tries, all bis, or no, doing the kind of tricep bicep superset sort of method right now, is because I'm not necessarily so concerned with trying to maximize the fucking muscular damage that I get on either side, Because when I'm bulking up, I don't do the superset style so much. I can tell usually when I'm trying to gain weight, I end up doing all tries first and all bis first, because in my mind I'm like, okay, I want to completely destroy one before I move on to the other. But since right now I'm not, trying to go for complete fucking muscular destruction, I'm really just trying to get a solid amount of stimulation, then trying to maximize the pump, it's a little bit more alluring. Plus, not even talking about like the fucking um, like the actual benefit side. Like I said, like I've said probably 100 fucking times, a full-on arm pump, it's just fucking cool. So, nothing else to discuss there. Let's just find a cable and start some pushdowns. All right, so I had like real heavy ass pushdowns in mind. Like I was about to try to smack a plate, maybe 2 plates on the stack with a straight bar. But as I was warming my way up to it, I just didn't necessarily. And I feel like I've been saying this on all my lifts. It takes me a little longer to really get into it when I'm dieted down. I'm not so, like, let's say muscularly, I can't jump the gun. So the first set, not only do I want it to be a good working set, but it kind of counts as a warm up. It takes me like a working set or two before I'm really firing on all cylinders. You know what I'm saying? So instead of something really heavy, which if I can't even really feel my whole tricep contracting, I feel like it's just kind of a waste of energy. I'll start with something lighter, really squeeze it, and in the process of doing that, I'll kind of get a little bit more. Well, I feel like I can get more activation in my triceps. So bulking up, I'm much more prone to just jump to a lot of weight because I'm ready for it. But dieting down, I ease into the workouts a little more, at least a little more than usual. So start with the right side first, then we can move on to curls. I'll come back to this, I bet. And raise this one more notch. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's do some curls. In the process of warming up from 20 pounds to 30 pounds to 50 pounds to 65 pounds, just 5 reps each weight. The 65 felt pretty fucking heavy. So even though, sure, I could probably muscle up the 80s, the reps are going to be so shit. I'm just not going to get the bicep activation I want. Even I have my limits, right? I don't necessarily want to go as heavy as I've ever gone every lift, but I do want to go as heavy as I can go every lift. And those are very different things. If you could bench 4 or 5, but then you come in one day and you feel like shit, and then you try to do 4 or 5 again because you've done it before and you end up hurting yourself, it's kind of silly, right? The numbers are actually kind of arbitrary in my mind, right? If these dumbbells had no numbers on them, well, it might take me a little while to pinpoint the weight I want to use, but I would just warm up to as much weight as I feel like is enough that I can handle for at least a decent set, and then use that. And kind of in the opposite logic, if you know that you've done the 40s in the past and today you feel extra strong, don't be afraid to fucking curl the 50s, man. Don't be afraid to curl the 55s if you've never done them, even if it's for a set of 8 and you have to swing a little bit in the last one. Progressive overload is not a fucking myth, even on smaller movements like that. But of course, use your best judgment. All right. All right. Let's take 1 second. Do a little rest pause. So the set is not over, but I'm taking a few moments to breathe to do a few more reps. Oh my God. Good opening set of curls. Now a heavy set with an extra plate on the stack. Let's take a moment. One more. Oh my God. Okay. Back to dumbbell curls. Perfect. Oh my God. I think that's enough dumbbell. Oh. Back to push downs and then maybe preachers or something. Yeah. No. Yeah. Okay, let's drop 25. Oh my God. Oh, that's a good one. That's a curls of some sort. Give me a little spot. So like once I'll just say when, just kind of get it up. Yeah. Not too slow. Okay. Thanks. There'll probably be 15 solo first. Okay. Yeah, perfect. 5 more. One more. Oh my god. That's perfect. Nice. Nothing beats assisted reps. Same plan for push downs. God dang assisted reps. Yeah, 5 more. Yeah, 2, 3. Oh my god. That's perfect. I almost had some cable curls, but this machine, which I really want to use, opened up just in time. So, kind of this, kind of little. So moderate weight, and then I've got I don't really want to do one set at a time and then the other side, because then when I move on to my next set of curls, my right arm's going to be a little more fatigued than the left one. So I'll do kind of a 5 and 5 style, right? 5 reps on one, 5 on the other, back and forth, back and forth. Probably finish with some self assistance, which if you got nobody else around you to help on some sets, like the last 2 that I just did, self assisted reps are sweet. And don't get concerned about like, well, if I'm helping myself on the right arm, then I'm going to be using my left bicep and I'm going to be more. You're not helping that much, even just a little to help you pump out 5 more reps. And then you ride down the negative and get that extra work of holding the weight. Intensity wise, let's just say you're much more likely to fucking have a nasty set. So let's bust these out. Oh. Okay. Okay. What's this one? Okay. A little bit on the longer end, but that was a good one. Let's do something. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Let's make it drop some. Okay, that's enough. Let's make this a heavy first portion and then continually drop set to satisfaction. If I only have to do one drop set and I feel like I've done enough, I'll just do one. But if I want to keep going and do fucking a quadruple drop set, that's fine with me too. As long as the set is fucking rough. Oh my God. Well, that's too heavy. There we go. Okay. Okay. That was enough. I think that might be it. Maybe one more set of tries to be determined. Okay, one more set of triceps. Just 5 reps on one side, 5 on the left. Really just trying to pump as much blood into it as possible. And then go post down with fancy pants lighting. Yeah. 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 Come on. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's go post down. Okay. I didn't even count how many fucking sets that was. I think it was only like, I don't know, 7-ish for buys and tries. Maybe 8. But again, I mean, the number is kind of doesn't necessarily mean anything. I just did as many sets as I felt was necessary to fully stimulate and, fatigue my tries and buys. And then once I'm fully pumped and kind of have the feeling that I've done enough, then I'm good to check the pump. But that is, I would say, kind of that's something that I don't mind doing now that I've, lifted for years upon years. And I don't want to say I know what I'm doing, but I know how a workout feels when I'm done with it. So if you're a total beginner, I probably wouldn't necessarily recommend that you just go based on feeling and have a much more rigid routine just so you can consistently do the same amount of workload, you know. So if you're a year one dude, I think pick, your 9 set workouts or your 10 set workouts, finish them in their entirety, and then over time you'll get a little bit better of a kind of a gauge of when you're really done versus when you still have some more energy left in the tank, some more water left in the towel to wring out until you're fully pumped. But let's see how we're looking. Boy. Going old school with the gray beater. Well, I don't think I need you to tell me that I'm fucking pumped. Actually, there we go. Got the exposure. One more level. All right, I'm fucking happy with that. That's for sure. Oh, what else is there? This is straight up side chest. A little side tricep action, and then I think we're fucking nearly done. I need to work on my shoulder flexibility so that I can actually do a side tricep and really grab my fingers together. Because with a full chest pump, for me to grab it back here and really pull my shoulders back for a side try, I'm a little tight. So usually use a little towel method. Oh, not bad. Freaking fruitly not bad. So what was this workout powered by? You know, what was the fucking food intake today? Uh, Apart from the amounts, you know, nothing particularly dieting friendly. You know, I had a big egg white omelet with fat-free cheese slices on the inside of it, spinach, fat-free barbecue or sugar-free barbecue sauce. That's actually a classic diet meal for me. And then fucking some Eggo waffles. I had turkey with some cheese melted on it. You know, as long as you're getting your quality protein sources and you're staying under your deficit, you can get fucking playful with the foods that you eat. You know, and for me, well, for one thing, in my mind, it makes sense, but also just for me to actually go about dieting, it's just easier for me, you know? So over the next month, the proof's in the pudding. You know, you'll see that even if I have a couple fucking treats, I'm still dieting down. You know, so let's get all done. All right. All right. Are you a victim of your genetics? Is that something you constantly think about? I hear it a lot. You know, it is certainly a term to be discussed. It's like, oh well, you know, I've got a genetically bad. I mean, my quads just genetically, you know, I've got the only genetic fucking what's the word I'm thinking of? The only genetic setback that you have is having a genetically fucking bad mindset. No, okay, I'm not. That's not totally true. You can have legit, like, just, you know, your triceps can develop much slower than your chest, or you could have, you know, just what some would say is just kind of rough insertions of your, you know, your calves. You have really high calves, but, you know, so what, right? Sure, you could accept it, but then, you know, just fucking move on, man. Keep training. What's the point of even talking about that, right? It's kind of just making an excuse. You know, it's like, oh well, my biceps would be bigger if I had better genetics. uh I'd what I'd be rich if I won the lottery. It's just a fucking hypothetical, man, you know? So it's not even worth thinking about. It's not even worth, like, going over, you know? It's just a fucking fact that for you is you might have a little bit of a setback, you know? But I wouldn't even say setback. You just have to maybe apply your efforts in slightly different ways. If your chest is fucking massive, if you've got a baller, you know, pair of bazongas, and you barely have to hit them, and they're already way ahead of, like, your shoulders and your back and your arms, then guess what, man? You can chill on chest, you know? Don't train it so much. You can take a day. Or you could take if you hit everything else once, you know, twice a week, maybe just back off, do chest just once a week, and then you're giving the rest of your body a little bit more energy to recover, you know? But what I'm trying to get at is, like, if I whenever I see or read the comments where it's like, oh well, my bicep insertions are so in this, and just deal with it, man. And a lot of that stuff, I've talked about this before in terms of muscle insertions. A lot of little tiny details on your build, which are, you're hypersensitive to them because it's your build. A lot of them, look, they'll just kind of fucking even out over time, Like, if your right bicep's a touch bigger than the left one, if you're right arm dominant, that's probably going to be the case. I feel like it usually is for most people. Like for me, my right lat is a little ahead of the game, or it used to be. My right bicep, my right forearm. My left? No, right forearm. But as you lift and as you just work out over time, those things just even out, So it's not really necessary to fucking think too much about, because what do you get out of it, right? If you think of the amount of energy that you put into thinking about something as an investment, then, thinking about things that you can't control, that you don't necessarily have a direct effect over, guess what, man? That's a fucking bad bet. That's a bad investment. You're not going to get anything out of that, Whereas being able to focus on the things that you actually can control and have an effect over, like making sure you have solid lifts, you get good sleep, you eat all your food, you watch some fucking hype videos, you make sure you got a solid playlist for your workouts, you don't talk too much during your workouts so you can actually be in the zone. And then once you're done, you can have some chit chat time afterwards. These things are what are the big fucking differentiators between the baller and the chump, And this is a pretty solid approach to life. Things that you don't have direct control over should not constantly be fucking the center of attention of your mind. The stuff that you can actually fucking mess with and affect, that's what you should really be focusing on. And it's kind of more of that's just more of a Zen way to go about it. And that's not an original thought, of course. That's like fucking Seneca's Stoicism 101. Right? So these guys figured this shit out a while ago. This isn't anything new. But just because it's old does not mean that it's wrong. So that's my main point there. Don't fret too much. I'd much rather hear someone complain, "Oh, dude, crap! This week I haven't been bringing the intensity." Something about, because when it comes to maybe being a little bit more self-critical about the things that you can actually affect, then you can actually use that kind of criticism as a way to see what you should change, right, to get yourself on track again, So if you're like, dude, this week I've been totally off my fucking game. What have I been doing differently? Oh, well, yeah, okay, it's finals week. I haven't been sleeping as much. I definitely haven't been drinking as much water. That makes sense. Okay, I should probably not stay up till 3 a.m. on TikTok, and I should make sure I get my fucking gallon a day of water and electrolytes, like shit like that, right? So that's all I'm saying there, and I'm sure you've heard it. I am sure you've heard people say this kind of stuff where they're just yipping about their fucking, I can't recover from this kind of training. I can't, insert, whatever, however that sentence continues. Yeah, that's not fun. That's not a fun sentence to say at all, so that's my little gripe. Make sure you're pushing it. I don't want to say pushing it 100% of the time. It's just not realistic. But push it as hard as you can, as much as you can. And by doing that, you'll gradually get better at it. And if you lift for long enough, would it not make sense that you're eventually just going to become a nut? If you took any of your fucking friends, I don't care whether they're fucking 250 pounds overweight, 130 pound twig kind of dude. If you took any of them, right, no matter what your starting point is, and they did not even years, I'm talking 1 year of a consistent workout routine with whatever diet approach would make most sense to them. You know, for the 130-pound dude, he's probably got to work on chowing down. And maybe for the 250-pound guy, he's got to maybe focus a little bit more on his cardio and stay a bit closer to maintenance to a minor deficit. Even just 1 year of consistent grinding can have a fucking insane effect, regardless of whatever you may think is your my genetic starting point. I mean, come on, you know, like it's worth discussing, of course, but not worth fretting over, man. You know, if I had fucking the worst quad genetics in the world, I'm still gonna try to work my quads as much as possible and grow them. You know, so what does that change? Right? That's all I gotta say there. But plan now, go chow down on a ribeye, try to trim off as much fat as possible. Probably have some probably do another egg white omelet with spinach and fat-free cheese, and then combine that with probably a fucking hour and a half of Warzone after I finishing up one of my final projects. Very good end to the day of a lifter, I say. So, I'll fucking see you next time.